I recently finished playing Fallout 76 on the PlayStation 4. This backlog review will probably be shorter than other backlog reviews because I'm not going to go into what all of the other Fallout 76 reviews go into. It's consistent with my experience, but I'll just be highlighting a couple of things that I wanted to cover in regards to the game. There's not going to be any gameplay in this video because I wasn't really expecting to make a backlog review on Fallout 76, but there was a couple things that I wanted to talk about. So hopefully I'm concise enough and I don't need any flashy gameplay to distract from what I'm saying. The two key words to describe 76 right now in its launch period is annoyance and disappointment. Many of the changes that they added to account for the multiplayer just don't really make sense, and they don't really work if you're used to playing other Fallout games. One trick that a lot of people that play Fallout like to use is selling junk to vendors. Along your journey, you pick up a bunch of crap, take it to a vendor, sell it to them, get caps, maybe buy a couple stim packs to refill their caps so that you can sell more junk, and get your money and get some useful supplies for all the junk that you pick up. In this game, that doesn't really work. Vendors have like a set pool of 200 caps, and if you buy items from them, they don't add any new caps to that stock. So at any one given time, you can only sell a handful of junk for those 200 caps, and then you have to wait for however long it takes for the vendor to restock. Some sort of balance in the game, but then you wonder because you can't pay real money to get caps in the game. So I don't really know why they have to limit how many caps you can get when there's no way for players to misuse that and earn more money. It just is very confusing. Enemies that will spawn right in front of you, they're not even hidden or run in anyway, they just phase into the world right in front of you. Locations where enemies just continually respawn with no end. Enemies that will fly through walls or will walk through walls, phase through walls. All that stuff, it's expected of an early access game. And last time I checked, Bethesda doesn't make early access games. They make $60 video games that you buy and play. Have to talk about the Atomic Shop. Get it out of there. I understand that you need to prolong the game and all that, and it's supposed to be like a source of income for people to continue development on the game, but it is so atrociously priced. When the game is discounted to $30 at a lot of places, you can't tell me that paying the equivalent of $20 for emotes is at all worth it. The game would crash or disconnect from server multiple times, sometimes even going as bad as 3 or 4 disconnects in an hour play session. That is just unacceptable for an online game today. And I know it's their first attempt at an online game, they're only used to making single player games, but to be honest, that really shouldn't be an excuse. If they knew it was this technically broken, it should have been delayed and it should have been put on hold until it was at least stable. People wanting the game to actually be playable and work right isn't a lot to ask. Fallout is one of my favorite franchises, and it just gets back to that disappointment factor. It's just kind of sad to see when there's a new game that comes out and it's just universally panned. And I'm not saying those who criticize the game are wrong or anything. They're completely right. This game is broken, and it is not a $60 video game. It's just not worth that. It just sucks to see when it's one of your favorite franchises. Nobody wants to see their favorite games go through such a horrible launch like this. That said, there are some good things about the game. The world space is really cool. There's a lot of really unique and I would say memorable locations. I really like what they did by dissecting the map into different biomes. I think that really helped in making the map stand out from other Fallout games, and you could really start to color code the different areas and assign different dangers or themes to each area. I really like what they did with the world design. The music is also really good in the game. All the licensed tracks, all the ambient music, I constantly switch between the two just because I like listening to all the different tracks. The card system is pretty unique for the game, and I think it's interesting. It works pretty well. And I like how you're able to swap abilities based on whatever fight you may be going into. I think that's a really neat way to approach the leveling system. As I said in my beta video, I don't think I would trade that in a future Fallout, a future single-player Fallout, but I think it suits this game well. Even though there's no human NPC characters, I thought some of the voice performances were really good. There was a lot that I didn't really like, but there are a few standout performances that really elevate the storytelling in the game. But on the topic of the storytelling, I will say this is the worst Fallout story that they've made. It got to a point where I just started ignoring terminals and audio logs because they would either drone on for too long or there would be way too many article entries. It's just not how I want to experience a story, and it really just started to drag, and I saw that it wasn't really going anywhere about 20 hours in. So I just started completely ignoring it because there's nothing of substance really there. When all is said and done, I think if you enjoy Fallout 4, you can see the groundwork of something that might be good in the future. We'll see if in 1 to 2 years they really fix this game up and make it resemble what everybody was shown at E3, or we'll see if the game is just such a big flop that they eventually drop it and move on to better projects. I'm not sure that I'll pre-order another Bethesda Collector's Edition after 76, because there's just been any number of issues that have been associated with the Power Armor Edition here, but I still see Bethesda as the studio that made my second favorite game of all time, Fallout 3. I still see the Bethesda that made Skyrim, a game that's on a lot of people's favorite lists of all time. They still have the ability to make good games, or at least make fun games that people enjoy. So I'm not jumping ship, but this definitely was a failed experiment on Bethesda's part, and I really hope that they look to this and they adjust the amount of polish and focus they put into the design of their future titles. If you enjoyed this, please check out our other videos, other reviews, and maybe leave a like and subscribe if you want to see some more. See you in the next one.